Yeah, so today I made a double thick
Kefir, double fermented.
Basically, you saw the pictures. I let it completely separate, and then I drained out all the whey, and then I added more milk and let it continue to ferment, probably like another hour and a half, 2 hours. And so we should have a double fermented extra thick kefir. So far it's looking pretty good and pretty thick. Oh, that's heavy. That stuff is thick. Barely straining out at this point. Super. A little bit of whey was in there, but she's a thick keeper. So I did this for a few reasons. One, just because, and for another, I've been kind of away for the last couple weeks, and it's been super hot here. Like it was up to like 110 one day in Illinois. So I haven't been leaving the kefir out very much. It had been in the refrigerator a lot. And what's in the refrigerator a lot, that's not great. It does need to be warmed up regularly to keep your yeasts active and to keep the kefir active. If it's in there for a long time, it will start to go asleep. So in order to get it hitting in the growth cycle and restore some yeast, I let it sit out all night until it was completely separated this morning, then drained out the whey and just added milk back into the solid kefir and then shook it up and fermented it again. Now actually I had these jars out all night sitting in my cabinet, which is, just a cabinet. And I don't have any bugs or anything around here. I don't have bugs in my house. If a fly gets in here, I literally see it instantly and I take it out with my bare hands. I don't have any little fruit flies or nothing. I ain't fruity around here. So yeah, she's got a lot of thick mass here still. This will take a little bit of effort, but over fermenting it and leaving it out in the warm for a long time will spur your grains to grow more, and also ensure that you have necessary yeast in your kefir. If you leave it in the refrigerator for like more than a week straight, I'm not a fan of that. It will start to get real bacteria rich. You can start to lose off your yeast, which is not great. Doesn't make a good kefir. And yeast is an essential component of your kefir. I do hear a lot of complaints. I hear a lot of people complaining about, oh, my kefir's yeasty and whatnot. My kefir is extra yeasty. My kefir's too yeasty. And I say, great. But some people don't like it. But kefir is supposed to be yeasty. So maybe some people just don't like kefir as much as they thought they might when they were getting all these fruity styles from the store. But yeah, that's one thing. If you really just don't like kefir, if you don't like yeast or sourdough taste, maybe you want to make some yogurt or something instead. I was actually looking into the Caspian type yogurts. Mesophilic yogurts that don't need to be heated. They cure at room temperature, similar to kefir. Yeah, there's quite a few varieties with different textures. So if you don't like yeast, you might want to look into those. That might be something more to your liking. Mesophilic yogurts. So yeah, that's pretty decent. There's still probably some thickness in there. Now we're getting a real football action here. So if you do end up with still having a lot of thickness in your kefir, like thick kefir in your grains, that's okay. It just might make it ferment a little bit faster on your next batch. You just get it in there, shake it up to make sure you rinse that off the grains so they get fresh milk into them. So what kind of transition we can make here. Now, many people like myself may be pretty adverse to the whey, but what I find a lot of times is when you do have the higher amount of kefir in your milk, that it actually keeps the whey from tasting as bad. So don't be afraid to try it with some whey. And like this batch, since it was double fermented, I did have some whey in there. But like I said, it really doesn't taste bad. So don't be afraid to try it. Typically when there's more of a whey component, it just adds a little bit of that alcohol type taste, and then it will tend to get fizzy like a beer. So some people may like that. So yeah, another great thing to do to modulate your kefir. Actually, what I had to do the other day is my kefir was almost done in the fridge, but I just wasn't going to strain it and use it that day. So since I had these only filled up to like here, I added a little more milk and then mixed it around. And that little bit of milk gave the grains more food to make it to the next day for when I was ready to strain them. And a lot of times I'll find that even with your finished kefir, if you're going to let it sit around, you can add some fresh milk into it, and that'll extend the time that it can sit around before it separates to whey. The whey separation occurs when all of your lactose is used up in the milk. So when you strain it, you still have a lot of kefir bacterias and stuff inside of this strained kefir, so it's going to continue working the milk. So if you add fresh milk in, that will kind of hold it at this level and give the bacterias more food to feed on before they completely feed it all out, and then you start to get a whey production. So that can be very helpful to a lot of you. Some people, it sounds like, I've had some questions. I think that would help them out a lot right now in the summer when it's hot. Just adding a little bit of fresh milk in, either towards the end of your ferment or after you strain it. Add some fresh milk in if it's going to be sitting around. But I did find even adding it in at any time, it really kind of adds a new dimension kind of creaminess to it, because you have the finished kefir then with some freshly fermented kefir, and the grains aren't getting starved out. They're not completely sucking all the lactose out of the milk and converting it and ending up turning it to whey. So adding a little bit of fresh milk can help avert that. So thanks for watching. Y'all have a good holiday and happy kefirin.